Wrong camera. Hello, everybody. It's fine. So, welcome to another Tuesday night. Oh, she switched it. Okay. Hello. I apologize for not being on a couple weeks ago. We had some internet difficulties, as you might remember from Amanda's show. Our router died over Labor Day weekend, and we were in the midst of waiting for a new one. And it hadn't occurred to me the day of my show that we could have just plugged the computer straight into the cable modem. It's not the most secure thing on the face of the earth. We do have VPN software, which helped when we plugged Amanda's computer in straight into the modem the next night. Anyhow, it wasn't meant to be that week. So tonight, I'm going to be playing what I had wanted to do 2 weeks ago, although
You are hardwired, right?
I am. Is it skipping or something?
It's showing the speed is very low.
Yeah, it's hardwired.
Looks like it's okay in my feed, so I just asked everybody how's the connection.
Okay.
So it looks like it's fine. Its reading is really low, but so
Huh.
far so good. So let me know, everybody, if we have any problems.
Yeah, it is. I did remember to physically plug it in well before we started the stream. So, when you plug in a hardwired Ethernet connection, as far as I know, Windows is set to automatically have that override the wireless. So it should not be using the wireless at all. But who knows? Who knows? So, hello in the chat. I know I saw my mom in there, and presumably the rest of my family is watching too. So, hello, guys. Hello to Angelica, who, as usual, is the first one in. And hey, Kelsey's here, and Dari. And Kathy B, good evening. Diana Nicole, hey, Diana. Hey, Nick Davila, and hopefully Christy is in the same general environs. Let's see who else is here. At least that's all in the. It's all everybody I see in the chat. Oh, Diana says that it froze for just a sec. So, yeah, keep us informed. Not that there's necessarily a whole lot I can do about it if our internet decides to get super slow. What are you gonna do? So hopefully it won't screw up anything that I'm playing tonight. Yeah, I'm hoping to get through most of this stuff without too much issue. Man and I are both very tired tonight. She was out doing an audition yesterday. We were both up really late last night. I was out all day. This place, I don't know if you can really read my shirt, it's the Carrizo Plain National Monument, which is out east of San Luis Obispo. One of the most deserted places in the entire state, save perhaps Death Valley or certain areas of Death Valley, the ones that people don't tend to go to. And one of the coolest places in the whole state too. So the Carrizo Plain, it's a national monument. It is east of San Luis Obispo, and you can get there via Highway 166, which runs from, if those of you who are familiar with Interstate 5, and Lucy found a squeaky toy. Anyhow, if you're familiar with Interstate 5, just a few miles north of the bottom of the Grapevine, there's a turnoff for Maricopa. That's Highway 166. It runs out to Santa Maria and Highway 101. There is a road called Soda Lake Road that runs from 166 at the southern point, about 45 miles north up to Highway 58, which 58 runs from Santa Margarita, a little bit north of San Luis Obispo, and 101 runs from there east out to Interstate 5. And if you keep on 58, you'll eventually go through Bakersfield to Tehachapi and out into the Mojave Desert, out past Edwards Air Force Base. And I think 58 terminates at Highway 395, which runs up the east side of the Sierra. You can tell I've driven these routes for work a lot. I'm very, very familiar with them. I love it out there. So did a spontaneous hike up a hill yesterday, which was a lot of fun, tiring in the extreme, as I'm not used to hiking, and I was wearing my work clothes, and I wear bedroom slippers, hard-soled, rubber-soled bedroom slippers when I drive because they are much more comfortable than wearing shoes. And I didn't have my boots with me yesterday, and I didn't want to mess up my dress shoes, so I climbed about 350 odd feet in the space of a third of a mile in my slippers. It was a very steep incline. It was not too bad going up, tiring, but not too bad. Going down was a little bit of an adventure. It was a lot of fun. One of the reasons why I love driving through the Carrizo Plain is assuming that there are no fences in your way, you can just get out and you can start walking. You do have to be careful because the desert, it's a fragile environment. So you do have to mind where you're walking and try and keep it to animal tracks, areas where the dirt's already been kind of beaten down a bit, so you're not doing any damage to anything. Um, yeah, it was a fun day. I'm kind of wiped today. So here we are doing the show. Let's see. Kelsey's saying it does freeze from time to time. Yeah, Nick, I normally I do not like Interstate 5 at all. I much prefer driving 101. And really, I mean, both highways 58 and 166 both terminate at 101 as well. So you can get to either of them from 101. So 166 is the very last exit if you're going north through Santa Maria. It's the very last exit just before you cross over from. Actually, I'm not sure if it's just before or just after, but it's right about where the county line is between Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo. And then it runs more or less, I think it crisscrosses the county line a little bit as it runs east out towards Interstate 5. Anyhow, Soda Lake Road, which is the name of the road that runs through the Carrizo Plain, is probably about on 166 around 45 minutes to an hour east of 101. On either Highway 58 or 166, whichever one you take. That's about how long it takes to get out there. If you're coming from 5, it's closer. It's more like a 30-mile drive from 5. Yeah, really cool place, especially if there's a super bloom going on. So if we get some good rainy weather this coming spring and you want to go to a really, really pretty area to see a super bloom, check it out. The time we went a few years ago, when there was a super bloom out there were a lot of people. Normally it is deserted. When I did my hike yesterday, I was climbing around for probably the better part of an hour. Not a single car drove by while I was up on the hill. And in fact, on the entire length of Soda Lake Road from 58 all the way to 166, I saw one other car going the other way towards the south end. One car. And that was over the space of probably about 2 hours. So there's just nobody out there. It's pretty great. Anywho. Okay, so good. So internet apparently is working.
Well, but it's still freezing. I don't know why.
But it's still freezing.
The upload and download speeds are great.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Just saw the comments about 5 being a mess with the construction. Yes, because they're repairing damage from the fire. I got caught in that on my way up. A couple weeks ago, I had some meetings for work up in Oakland where our office is, and I didn't think to check traffic on that route before taking it. And yeah, there is, I think, like a 10-mile stretch. It took about an hour to get through, maybe more than an hour. It was pretty bad, and I think it's like that almost every day. It's just horrible. So yeah, in the near term, if you were looking to go north, try and avoid 5. It's what? All right. Enough of me yammering. You hear?
Hurt anything if I turn the Wi-Fi off?
No, it shouldn't hurt anything at all.
I'm a little nervous.
Just turn it off. It should be fine. If y'all can still see and hear me, we're good. The Wi-Fi is off. I mean, that shouldn't be impacting anything. It should be defaulting to the wired connection, but you never know.
Let's find out if this is.
All right, so is it still freezing?
It's still going down. I don't know why. Maybe there's something with your computer that's happening.
I don't know
Because like I
what.
said, our internet speeds are great. No, actually, it didn't cause any changes. It's like, oh, running a speed test will cause glitching. No, it didn't change anything one way or the other.
Running speed test didn't change anything?
Mm-mm.
Should it have?
It actually stayed okay during it, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the computer.
So the speed's still really bad. I mean,
It's like good, horrible, good, medium, good.
it could It's possible it's the Ethernet cables because I do have a couple of them daisy chained together, and I don't think we've used this combination on my show yet.
You should have tested that first.
Well, I didn't think of it.
Me
I mean,
neither.
the cables work fine normally.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
It is what it is, though.
yeah, and unfortunately, it's the only option we have because the cable I used to use for this computer for the wired connection is now being used for something else. So I guess maybe I'll have to get a new Ethernet cable. Luckily, they're cheap. All right. So we are going to proceed. So tonight I've got a selection of a whole bunch of short pieces by a, of all things, a Soviet composer by the name of Reinhold Glier. He was born in Ukraine. He was, I believe, German and Polish descent. He was born in Kiev. And unlike some other Russian composers, Rachmaninoff being probably one of the best known of the same era, Glier did not leave Russia when after the Bolshevik Revolution happened. He stayed there and stayed in the Soviet Union. And he wrote some great stuff, and he is not well known today, at least not in the West. I don't know, within Russia or the former Russian states, was now Eastern Europe, how well known his music is. But he was a fairly influential composer in a teaching capacity. He was probably, I don't know if he was Prokofiev's first teacher. Prokofiev started taking lessons with Glier when Prokofiev was all of 11 years old. So Glier may well have been Prokofiev's first teacher, certainly one of the first. And Glier also taught Aram Khachaturian of saber dance fame, and a number of other well-known Russian composers. So his piano music is especially unknown. I started playing, I played a couple pieces by him in a past show and decided to explore some more stuff by him and actually really, really like what he wrote. He was born in 1874. So thinking of things in terms of when this piano was built, he was about 15 years old when this piano was built. He passed away in 1956. So Rachmaninoff lived in a similar time span. I think he was mid 1870s to about 1940. He passed away at a younger age from cancer. So Glier and Rachmaninoff both same time period. Glier stayed in the Soviet Union, or what became the Soviet Union. Rachmaninoff left, moved to the U.S., actually settled in Los Angeles, and spent the rest of his life there. So this first piece that I have for you guys tonight is just called Prelude. This is Opus 16. His opus numbers, at least for piano music, went up to 99, so this is a relatively early piece. And it's really kind of cool, so I hope you guys enjoy it. All right. Getting things off to a exciting start, I hope. Yeah, I really, really like that one, especially just how big and just boom it gets in the middle and then scales back and ends gently, tragically. Cool piece. Next up, this is, and I'm going in what is more or less chronological order here. So this is out of Opus 21. This is kind of a last minute edition. This is Opus 21 number 3. This is the only one I was able to pick up and play with minimal practice. The other two are a little bit more challenging pieces. Oh, Dave Hill's having video stalling problems. So, Dave and anybody else having video issues, hopefully that is kept to a minimum. We think it might be the Ethernet, the physical cables I'm using. They're both, older cables. They're not the same ones that I've used prior to tonight. I needed the other cable for something else. So I'm...
You can't switch them out, right?
I cannot switch them out. The other cable is, portions of it are nailed in place now. So yeah, swapping it out is not an option, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to just buy a replacement cable. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully that's the problem. If it isn't, then I don't know what the issue is. Yeah, but other people seem to be having no issue at all. Yeah, so I apologize for that. I don't know what's going on. So Amanda, when you run speed test on that computer, is it saying that the internet speed is terrible, or is it saying it's good?
It's perfect.
So what was telling you that it wasn't?
OBS.
Oh.
Yeah, like I said, it's literally probably every few seconds it goes to.
Goes to zilch.
Yeah, well, yeah, close to. So that's why I said it's like good, good, terrible, good, medium, good, terrible, medium, good. Like that's literally what it's doing. I know. I wish there was something.
Because I feel like if it was the cable that was the issue, then speed test should have some problems too.
That's fair.
You know, it would be, everything would be affected because it's the cable rather than just OBS. But without knowing the intricacies of OBS, I don't know.
Well, no, OBS is just reading our internet speed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know enough about it to posit any other hypotheses. I don't know. We'll just have to continue, I suppose. So, next piece. This is out of a set of 3 pieces, Opus 21, which, unlike a lot of his other stuff, all have titles. So the first piece is called Sadness, the second piece is called Joy, and the third one is called Chagrin. And I chose this one. A number of his compositions are very, very chromatic. It's not something that I'm used to playing. And by chromatic, I mean instead of intervals like... It's... That's chromatic motion. So, you know... yeah, so I thought this was kind of an interesting piece. And like I said, the only one out of the set that at the last minute was easy enough that I thought, okay, I can do this one. Yeah, the first one, in terms of the physical notes being played, isn't too bad, but there are so many flats in the key signature, it's really tough to read. Yeah. So this is Opus 21, number 3, Chagrin by Reinhold Glier. All right, so I saw in the chat there that I guess hopefully for everybody audio's okay. Maybe it's just the video that's cutting out periodically, which that we can deal with. The audio is the important part. So that was Chagrin by Gliere. I played mostly the right notes. There's a spot in the middle. I was like, I have no idea where my hands are going. That might happen on this next one too. This is another last minute addition. This is one I swear I've played before, yet I don't recognize it at the same time. It's a very bizarre feeling to have played through this next piece at some point and gone, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've played this. But I'm also pretty sure I haven't. I suspect that perhaps it is very, very similar to a composition possibly by Rachmaninoff or Sergei Bortkovich, who's another Russian composer from the same time period. I think that this might be similar to a composition by one of them, and it might be that's the one I'm thinking of. It just occurred to me. Don't know. So this one is just called Prelude. This is out of Renown Opus 26. This is Opus 26 number 2, and these are also more recent additions to the playlist, as in the last couple days. I'll be playing Opus 26 numbers 2, 4, and 6 out of the set of 6 pieces. This is the first one, and I decided on these just because I thought they were really cool, especially this first one. So this is, without further ado, this is Prelude. This is in the key of E flat minor, which is a very, very dark sounding key. You know, it's very, very dark sounding key, at least to me. And it's one of my favorite keys. I really like it. So here we go. All right, hope you guys like that one. I absolutely love that one. It needs some more work in the middle. There's spots where it's like, especially since you have to keep this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to keep that pattern going, and playing, an even number of notes per beat is hard enough sometimes. Playing an odd number of notes per beat, once it's more than 3 and you start to get to like 5 or 7 or 9 or whatever. Well, nine's actually multiple of 3, so nine's okay. But five and 7 are really tough, especially when you have that bifurcated. Is that the right word? By quarter notes, so you have what?
Is that reverb on?
On the piano mics, yes.
I must be thinking of, I hear reverb.
Oh, okay. Anyhow, when you basically have 2 notes in one hand in the same amount of space or the same amount of time as 5 notes in the other hand, it's like, yikes, what do you do? All right, so next next piece is out of the same opus. This is number 4 out of the set of 6. This is Chanson Simple, or I have no idea if I'm pronouncing the Simple correctly. I would say simple in English. In French, I don't know. It could be sim for all I know. Half the letters are silent in French most of the time, it seems like. It just means, as far as I know, it just means simple song. I don't know how simple translates from French to English. Chanson means song. This is very much along the lines of a style that Felix Mendelssohn, in the mid 19th century started, and that was called songs without words, meaning they were solo piano pieces, intended to be only solo piano pieces, but they were written in a very lyrical style. So they sounded like they ought to have words to them, and that the melody line should be sung by a singer, but they didn't. So this is out of that same mold, and something to pay attention for. In a traditional song from the 19th century, or even perhaps early 20th century, you get variety from verses, from different words being sung. So you can get away with the same, really actually exact same music being played multiple times in a row because you have the verses to keep it interesting. When it's a solo work like this, you don't have the words to keep it interesting anymore. And so something to listen for in this and some other pieces that Glier wrote is the melody line changing registers. So at the beginning of this one, you'll hear it. And so forth. And then when it comes back, all of a sudden, it's down there. So he moves it around, and it's a technique that Liszt, I think, really perfected. I don't know that Liszt invented it, but Liszt perfected it, and a lot of other composers have used it to great effect. So this is Chanson by Glier, Opus 26, number 4. right. That was chanson. I'm not going to try and say the other word. By Glier. Yeah, it's a cool piece. He does some cool stuff in there, and I find Glier very interesting harmonically speaking too. You know, some of these chord progressions that he has, just he sends stuff in directions that you're not expecting, and they work. So it's kind of cool. So this last one out of this particular opus, this is Opus 26, number 6. This is another French term. You'll see it on your screen in a minute when Amanda puts the title up. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it because I have no idea. It translates into English as album leaf. And that title, by the time Glier came around, album leaf was just one, like prelude and sketch and romance and chanson, and there's a whole slew of titles that were used by composers from the 19th and 20th centuries that were just used for short pieces of music. You know, they didn't necessarily have a whole lot of meaning beyond that, and album leaf was one of them. Album leaves started off in the, I think, 18th and or 17th, no, 18th and early 19th centuries. They started off as literally usually very, very short composition that a composer might dash off on a piece of paper and enclose it in an album of published music, typically to be given to whomever the composer had dedicated the album. And then, you know, as time went on, album leaves became, in and of themselves, published pieces of music. They got perhaps slightly longer and more complex than they were back when they were just, you know, handwritten copies that a composer would enclose as a special gift to whoever they had dedicated the album. So that's the history behind the title of this piece. Album leaf doesn't have much meaning beyond it's just a short piano piece. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, that was Album Leaf by Glier. I've got, let's see, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're good on time. Everything I'm playing tonight it's all short. Let's see. Okay. Hopefully the internet speed and video and audio and all that is still working okay for everybody. So this next bunch, I think, well, I might say stuff in between them. These are also all very short pieces. This is the entirety of Opus 47, collectively titled 12 Sketches. Each individual piece does not have a title beyond that. And as I said a little bit ago, just like with Album Leaf and Prelude and a number of other titles, you can kind of swap those titles out one for the other, and it doesn't make much difference. They were all used for short piano pieces. So Amanda will put the titles up on the screen as I play these. This is, and something that I want you guys to listen for, I want you to listen for, something you can listen for in these is, especially this first one. Maybe if there's something interesting about each one, I'll mention it before I play it. So this first one, he uses a technique. This won't sound at all like anything Johann Sebastian Bach wrote, but he uses a technique that Bach used quite a lot. It's called, and other Baroque composers did too. It's called imitation. And that is where you have, in this case, a very recognizable opening. And you'll hear it come in it's a little bit altered there, but you hear it again, and then at some point in the bass line, you'll hear it again, and varied, and so this is a very interesting composition. It's very short, but there's a lot of stuff going on in it, and I thought it was kind of cool. All right, so that was number one. Number two is in D sharp minor, but it's very odd because it's not going to feel like it's in a minor key. You know, we would expect. Oh, other one, okay. We would expect that. That's not what this one's going to sound like. You'll see what I mean. Cool piece. Very unusual, at least to my ear. This next one, the third sketch, is interesting because this is not in an even numbered meter. This is written in 5/4 time, so we have 5 beats per measure. And unlike the last piece out of this set, which we'll get to soon, this one doesn't. The last piece out of the set is written in 7/4 and has a compound meter feel. And I'll explain what that means when we get to it. This one, being 5/4 time, doesn't have that. Just kind of a slight little hiccup every measure. So kind of cool. It's difficult to write in 5/4 time and 7/4 time. It's not the easiest thing to do. So it's an interesting piece. Yeah, kind of cool. Let's see. Is there anything remarkable about this next one? This goes with my glass of Cobb Franc. Oh, good, Nick. I'm glad you're enjoying your wine. Yeah, this next one. This is one of several where the melody line predominantly is down here, and the right hand predominantly is playing accompaniment stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a reversal of what you usually have, which is where the right hand is playing the melody line. So yeah. And I really do. I love it when composers write music like this, using this register, this kind of low to middle register of the piano. It always makes me think of, if this is being played on a cello. I really like that one. I mean, I really like all of these. These are all really neat pieces of music. Wow, hunters at a sports ball game. That's no excuse for missing my show. Just no excuse. Anyways, okay, so this next one, this is an interesting piece. Hopefully, I play it okay. It's been giving me some trouble. The difficulty with this one lies not so much in the speed that it's supposed to go. It has a tempo marking of volante, which I don't know enough Italian to know exactly how that translates, but it means fast. No, the difficulty in this one lies in the fact that the right and left hand are kind of doing this through the whole thing. This was a technique that Rachmaninoff used in a number of pieces. It is never easy. If you look at some keyboard pieces by Johann Sebastian Bach, he appeared to use this technique as well. But in Bach's case, he was writing for organ or harpsichord, which typically, almost always, had more than one manual. In other words, more than one keyboard. So you'd be playing, one line on one keyboard, one line on another keyboard. You could have your hands cross each other all day, and it was never really an issue. When they're doing that on the same keyboard, you gotta figure out how to do it. So, yeah, this is kind of an interesting one because of that aspect. Yeah, fun little piece. And it was a little bit better than I've been playing it, so I guess on the whole I'm happy with it for a few days worth of practice. Now this next one, this is another one that has a lot of imitation going on, and this one almost kind of like that first piece I played, that one. This one almost doesn't have an accompaniment to it, so it's more along the lines of something Bach would have written in terms of how it's constructed. Doesn't sound much like anything Bach would have written, but the bones of it, the way it's put together, there's a lot of similarities. So hope you guys enjoy. I really like that one too, a whole lot. It's interesting that like a common thought that I have after playing these is that they're so darn short. I end up playing them usually 2 or 3 times in a row just to, expand them out a little bit more. It's really tough though, writing short pieces of music like this, having them sound cohesive and good and not incomplete. It's kind of like if you think back to those of you who are past high school and college age, the years that you were in school and you were given writing assignments, and they had to be no more than a certain number of pages or words if it was ridiculous enough. A lot of the time, at least for me, it was harder writing shorter stuff. It's harder making your ideas more concise and still presenting the same amount of information. So this is a neat set of pieces because of that, because it's tougher to write short stuff. All right, I have probably said that more times in a row than was necessary. I could learn a lesson about brevity here. This next one, this one's an interesting one in that it's in F minor, but it's got a flat 7, which so it's got this kind of sound to it. That's kind of an interesting piece. Amanda?
Huh?
Camera?
Oh, camera. Sorry.
And we're on number 7.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. That's all she wrote on that one. Next up, this one is interesting in that the tempo marking is religioso. And in rather bizarre fashion, there are metronome markings in all of these pieces, but the metronome markings are at the end of the piece, they're usually at the beginning. So, when you sit down to play it, it's right there in front of you. You have some idea of how fast the composer wanted it to go. But in this case, for some bizarre reason, the editor just chose to put the metronome markings at the end. However, religioso gives you a fairly good idea of what the feel of this should be. This is actually fairly similar to a piece I wrote in terms of feel and overall construction. So hope you guys enjoy. Yeah, Pam, we're not sure what the issue is with the internet tonight. We don't know if it's something with my computer specifically. The only thing that's really different from previous shows that I've done is that I'm using a different Ethernet cable to hook it up, and we think that might be the problem. So in 2 weeks when I'm on again, or heck, if I'm doing anything sooner than that, we have a deep cuts coming up after this show. I don't know if I'll be doing anything sooner than 2 weeks from now on Vaudacity, but at the very least, 2 weeks from now, I will have procured a new Ethernet cable, and hopefully that'll fix the problem. Yeah, we'll have to run a test when I get a new cable and see if that did it. So yeah, Pam, it is most likely not you. It's the computer, and for some reason the speed test runs just fine. It says the internet's working perfectly off of this computer, but OBS is showing it being great, terrible, great, terrible, great, okay, great, terrible. So yeah, it's a new one, but like I said, the only thing that's changed is different Ethernet cable. So we're hoping that's it. All right, next up, the ninth out of this set of pieces. This one is notable in that, once again, the melody line is actually in the left hand, so it's lower. The right hand, the accompaniment pattern is this. So it's got this little bit of a hiccup to it, which makes it really interesting. And it's really pretty. I really like this one. Don't you just love these? I hope so. Okay, the next one, number 10. Anything notable about this one? The melody line moves around a bit, different registers, meaning it's here, and it's up here, and that's down here at some point. Yeah, so this is number 10, sketch number 10. That's a really pretty piece. This next one, number 11, we're almost there out of this set. This next piece is, it's kind of an interesting one. It's written in B flat major here, but it sort of bounces in and out of that. It kind of implies G minor almost right away. Yeah, it's an unsettled, kind of sprightly little piece. Yeah, fun little piece. All right, now. Yeah, Pam, I didn't realize either how much I would like Glieri. I think I looked at a couple of his pieces at some point in the past. I know I've played one of the ones I'm going to be playing in a little bit here. I've played on one of my shows before, but yeah, he wrote some good stuff, and his piano music, sadly, is just not really known anymore. I think he was probably eclipsed by better piano composers, certainly, and he was also a Soviet composer, and a lot of Soviet composers are not well known in the West. There's a few exceptions, I think Prokofiev being one of them, Shostakovich being another. Rachmaninoff left before the Soviet Union became such, so Rachmaninoff was not Soviet. But there's a lot of good stuff written in the 20th century that Iron Curtain just didn't make it out of the USSR the way it otherwise probably should have. So, all right. So this last piece out of this set of 12, this one is marked vivace. I do know what that means. It means lively in Italian. This one is written in 7/4 times. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the beats per measure. But what this ends up feeling like is a compound meter, meaning you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So there's this constant just drive, this little hitch in the giddy up, so to speak, just pushes it forward because you're short one beat every other measure. And at times, at least to me, it almost sounds like, instead of saying 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, something like that. Or it's really, if you're counting the beats properly, it's 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. You're just not counting 2 and 4. Anyway, yeah, I digress. This is a fun one. that one's tough to keep that one going. um, yeah, that's I mean, out of all these, that's probably one of my favorite ones out of this set of 12. It was just such a cool piece. And it's all about the rhythm, just that da 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 da. It's just such a cool thing. All right, so there's a second to last one for tonight that I'm playing. This is one that I have played before. I don't remember which show offhand, but I've played this one. This one's for left hand alone. It is, I think, titled Prelude. I think that's what I wrote down for Amanda to put on the screen. This is out of Opus 99. So it was probably written, let's see, if he died in the 50s, it's probably written in the 1930s or 40s, would be my guess. There's unfortunately, no composition date on here. But this one's a really cool piece too. And incidentally, the whole left hand alone thing, there's I'm trying to think when, I don't know who the first composer was that wrote a piece for left hand alone. The whole idea is that your left hand, especially during the classical time, during Mozart's time period, oftentimes is relegated to not really doing much other than just kind of keeping the beat and supplying the chords down there, and the right hand was doing all the interesting stuff. So the whole idea with left hand alone is you force what for a lot of people is their weaker hand, you force it to do stuff, and the whole idea is that you try and make it sound like it's two hands on the keyboard, not just one. All right, it was Prelude Opus 99, number 1 for Left Hand Alone by Reinhold Glier. One of my favorite, probably, at least as far as short pieces go, one of my favorite pieces of all time. I mean, that was just, love it. You know, just how the melody line grows. Yeah, it just does. It's like, love it. Okay. Last piece for the evening. This is titled Melody. This is Opus 99, number 2, the second of the 2 pieces from the set. This is also somewhat of a last-minute addition to the program tonight, but it's one I really like. And this is another one. Remember how early on, one of the pieces I played, the chanson, had the melody line starting off in one register. Excuse me, register up here, and then dropping down to a lower register when the line repeats. Same is true of this piece, and this one had some interesting harmonic changes in it too. This is Melody, Opus 99, number 2. Right, that was Melody by One Glier. Oh, and look at that. Perfect timing. We're almost at 9:30, just in time for deep cuts. So, Amanda, do we have any promos?
Yeah, and there is also a super chat, so I'm gonna try and get to that too.
Okay.
Let's do promos.
Oh, okay, yes. So, tomorrow night we have.
Not tomorrow night.
I can't see that from here.
Friday.
Oh, you did change it. Okay, well, you didn't tell me that. Okay. So Friday night, I'm gonna push back a couple of days. Amanda on Demanda, do you have a theme for Friday?
I think I'm gonna do Beatles music.
Ooh, Beatles music. Cool. Let it be.
Anything else to say?
There's my. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome show. Amanda does Beatles really, really well. And by Beatles, I mean the band, not the Bugs. Yeah, that should be a really fantastic show. So definitely tune in. Is that at 8 p.m. on Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 8 p.m. on Friday night, not Wednesday, Friday night. So definitely make sure that you are there. Any
I forgot
others?
about this one.
Oh yeah, and Deep Cuts is immediately following this show tonight, so just pop on over to Deep Cuts as soon as we're done here. And I believe is the theme listed on there?
Nope.
It's not. Okay, so we'll save that for the show. I will be on it, as will Amanda and a few other people. So join us. It should be a fun one. And then Thursday, so we're on Tuesday now. So Thursday, 2 nights from now, Hunter's Lovecast number 121. He does live acoustic originals and covers, all kinds of cool stuff. I always enjoy, and we both do. Amanda and I both always love Hunter's show. He puts on a great show every week. I don't know how he does it. I have a hard time with every 2 weeks. So definitely tune in. That is at 8 p.m. still on Thursday. All right, 8 p.m. on Thursday. So check it out. And we have a week from tonight, Gaming with Dari, episode numero 7. And that will be at, I think, also 8 p.m., yes? That's what time they've been on is 8 p.m.? Okay. 8 p.m. next Tuesday night. I may just have to move my show to 8 p.m. just to get in line with everybody else because we're all shifting to that time slot. I'm still stubbornly hanging on to 7:30. Anyhow, Gaming with Dar has been a lot of fun so far. We've done Jackbox games, we've done improv games, we've done all sorts of games on her show. It's been a blast. So looking forward to episode number 7. So make sure you are there a week from tonight. And then I will be back 2 weeks from tonight. Haven't decided yet what I'm playing. Haven't even thought beyond Deep Cuts tonight, but it should be fun. All right, and then a little bit further off into the future, we've got Polly's Picnic on a Cruise, Part 2. This is going to be the last weekend of March. I think literally the last few days of March and the first day or two of April. So it's, if you went on last year's cruise, it's basically at the same time. It's just shifted by a day because of how the days of the week land. And it's this cruise, unlike last year's. This one is, I believe, going to Catalina, to Avalon, and then to Ensenada. Last year's just went straight to Ensenada and back. So this one has one extra stop. If you've never been to Avalon, definitely go. Take advantage of the cruise and go. It's a really cool little town. You can walk the whole thing in about 10 minutes. Tiny little town. I got to go there for work, so I got to spend a whole day there once. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. All right. And let's see. I think we'll leave it there since Deep Cuts is supposed to be on in about
Got a sound check.
5 minutes, and we have to sound check and sign on to our Zooms and all that fun stuff. So we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Thanks for joining tonight, and yeah, see you in a few minutes on Deep Cuts. Night.